everybody, so this week's video is going to be a very highly requested video and a video that I feel like I can help you guys on the most. And this is a video about revision and tips about how to organise your time and what apps are most useful. And to be honest, I could have done this video later because it's only March, the exam season isn't until May, but I thought that this video isn't really going to be much use if I upload it like a week before exams start. So I have a list of things on my phone when I asked you on Twitter that you wanted me to cover, so I'm just going to go through them all. The first section is time management, and I feel like the best way to manage your time is to have a revision timetable. And the website that I use to get a good revision timetable is called getrevising.com, and getrevising.com is basically where you put in what commitments you have, like if you have dance or like netball, and then you put in when your exams are and how much of a priority they are and how much time you want to spend on them, and it will put it will make you a timetable based on your priorities, obviously giving you breaks, and it will schedule your exam season for you so you know that you're spending the right amount of time on each subject. And I feel like having an exam timetable and a revision timetable can actually really help organise your mind, because if you don't know when you're going to revise, then you're more likely to put it off than if you know when and where you need to revise and what topics that you have to do for that day. The second section is organisation, and I think it's always best from the start when you're starting your GCSEs or A-levels or whatever to have an organised folder. So I always keep my folders organised, so when it comes to revision it's a lot easier to sort of see what's going on. Ignore the stuff at the front because this is control assessment things, but I have 8 sections on my folder. So I have lifestyle here, which is the first section of my German GCSE. There's 4 sections, so I've left the 3 ones underneath that free for those sections. Then I have vocab paragraphs, which is when I write paragraphs or essays, because then I can use it when I come to do my control assessments. Then I have grammar, because grammar is really important in languages, tests and exercises, and then books and paper at the back. And I just feel like having structured folders is always really useful when you're trying to revise, because then you can just skip to the section that you want. And if you buy those little dividers, and they sell them everywhere, Amazon, eBay, WH Smith, those dividers can be really, really useful to make sure that all of your revision is in the right sections. So before you start revising, I would recommend going through all your folders and making sure that everything is in clear sections. The third section that loads of people ask me to cover is revision apps, and because I now have an iPad, which I mainly got for revision, sad I know, it only has 16%, but I'm sure I can show you what apps I have. So I have a folder that is just called education, because that was what it was called, and I have a lot of revision apps. So let me just get up close to the camera so I can show you what apps I have. So ignore the reflection of the camera, but in my education folder I have quite a few apps. So the first app I have is ibooks, and ibooks is really, really useful because I've just saved all of the specification, what are they called? GCSE specifications, so I can just use them for reference whenever I need to, and it just has everything that you need to know for the exam and what the exam is going to involve. Then I have paper, which is just a notebook app, and then I have PowerPoint and Word, which I'm sure you've heard of before, and then underneath that I have downloaded some revision apps. So I have GCSE History, GCSE ICT, Chemistry, Physics and Biology. And I think I also have some more, no I don't, but these are really, really useful because they have revision questions and games you can play, and they're just so beneficial when you're trying to revise. And if you just Google these on the App Store, they will come up, and you have all of the different sections, and then you can do word searches, flashcards, key terminator or pairs, which is really, really useful. So that's why I really like these apps. Then on the next page of apps, I have my bamboo paper, which I don't really use that much. These are the 2 that I use the most. So first of all, I have Flashcards, and Flashcards is just a flashcard app, obviously, because I prefer to use flashcards on my iPad than I do on paper, because I can take them everywhere with me. And for example, I have my history notes, and and what I did is I wrote the flashcards on here, but I can also access them on my phone, and like you can go through the flashcards and sort of see what answers they are, and once you've learnt them you can tick them off and you can read them out to yourself. And it's just really, really useful to have this app, I think, because with this app I've definitely like found it a lot easier to sort of take my flashcards with me. And then Quizlet is the exact same, but I use this for vocab, not for what's it called, for other things. So for example, I recently did a vocab test on relationships and choices in German, so I just wrote all the vocab in, but it is really useful because you can either match the pairs. So for example, you would be like matching the pairs and you have to try and match them as quickly as you can, which is really hard from here because I can't see what I'm doing, and you have to try and beat your score, and my best score is 9.9 seconds. Or you can learn them by it'll show you like the word and you have to type in English, and then at the end, once you've done it, it shows you which words you missed the most, so you can revise the ones that you struggled on more. So I missed out vorstellen quite a lot, so now I would know that that's a word that I struggle with. Then I just have Google Translate and a graph calculator for maths. These are all of the apps that I use. I will link them all in the description if you couldn't see them quite clearly, because the sun is at a weird angle and it's irritating me because you could see the reflection of the camera. So I'm really, really sorry if you could see the reflection of the camera while I was doing that, but I will link all of the apps down below. Next thing that people wanted to know about was revision techniques. For me personally, I find flashcards are the best techniques for me, because you write down the question that relates to your syllabus and then you put the answer, and then in the exam I sort of like think about it because it relates to questions on past papers. But a lot of people don't find flashcards that useful, and it depends really as to whether you're a visual, audio or kinesthetic learner. Visual prefer to sort of look at things obviously and prefer to have something in front of them, and if you're a visual learner then mind maps, flashcards, informational videos and things like that are always really, really good things to use. If you're like an audio learner, which means that you prefer to listen to things, you could always read out some vocab and then listen to it back, or listen to an educational tape, or you could say your revision out loud as you're reading through it. And kinesthetic learners are learners that prefer to do things. So people who prefer to do this, like, it's always good to stick post-it notes up around your house with like questions on, and then you can look underneath the post-it notes and see the answer, and like because you're walking around you might find that easier to pick it up. But if you look online and Google your learning type, there will be so many different revision techniques that you can use. But for me personally, I only ever use flashcards. I just find them so easy to use. And the other thing that I do use are the best things since sliced bread. If you are in the UK and you are doing GCSE or A levels, if you don't have the CGP revision guides, you need to reevaluate your life and get some, because they are the best things ever. So for example, here is my physics one. You can get them for every single subject that you're doing, and like it has, so look at that. It just has the topic and then it just concisely outlines how you need to learn it, and it also has questions at the end of each unit that you can test yourself on. And I just find these so useful, especially for sciences, because sometimes the notes in my book just don't make sense to me, and I just find this is so much easier because it has diagrams and it has test exam questions and just so many other useful things. So if you are doing UK exams, then CGP revision guides are the way to go. Another topic that people wanted me to go on was focusing and avoiding distraction, which is what I find the hardest out of everything. So apparently, due to like the research that I've done, the brain works best in 45-minute slots. That is the longest that your brain will withhold information before it starts to just get tired and shut down. And to be honest, I find for me 25 minutes is the best, and what I tend to do is have a 25-minute revision session, then have a 5-minute break, and then a 25-minute, and then a 5-minute break, and after I've done two 25-minute ones I'll have a 10-minute break, because you're not going to do any better sitting in your house all day trying to cram information. If you do it in little bits, you'll probably do better than somebody who's sat there for 6 hours straight and tried to revise, because none of it's actually going to sink into their head. And also, I find if you're really struggling with focusing, go out of the house, forget about your revision for a bit, take the dog for a walk, go shopping, go for a run. Just go and do something else for a bit and just completely take your mind off the fact that you've got work to do. And I feel like when you get back to your house, you'll probably feel a lot more refreshed and ready to actually deal with your revision, because sometimes when I've been sat in the house all day and I'm just there like, oh my goodness, my brain feels like it's going to explode, if I just go out shopping or just go to Greg's and get a steak bake and then come back, I feel a lot more ready to revise and absorb information. But basically, my key thing here is to absorb information best. You don't want to be doing it for hours at a time. Do it in short bursts, because your brain will absorb the information a lot quicker and you'll have to spend a lot less time revising than you would sitting there for 6 hours. The section that people wanted me to talk about was procrastination, and I can completely relate to this one. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, they're all much more enjoyable than revision. Like, don't get me wrong, I would much rather be watching YouTube videos than sitting there trying to learn about communism in Russia, but at the end of the day, there's plenty of time for Twitter and Instagram when your exams are over, because you have a really long summer after your GCSEs, and I don't know, like, you just need to try and think about the fact that you can spend your whole summer on Twitter or Instagram after the exam, but right now you need to try and focus on your revision. And to be honest, as it gets nearer exam period, I do like delete social media. Last year, 2 weeks before my end of year exams, I deleted Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and Snapchat and everything. I just deleted it all. And I did go on it like once in the evening on my laptop on Twitter, but I tried to avoid social media, and at first it was really hard, but I actually got a lot more work done and I felt a lot better about myself. And then the feeling when you can download all those apps again is just insane. So to be honest, if you're really struggling with like procrastinating, then just delete the app, because it actually does work after a while. You just have to have the willpower to like go through the first bit and like, yeah, just delete the app. I think that's everything I have to say for this, apart from they're only exams, and I know everyone says that to me and I'm like, they're not just only exams, they're really important. But if you just take your time, start way before the exam starts, don't leave it till the last minute, and just do short bursts of revision. And if you're in year 10 now like I am, I've started writing flashcards for my year 11 exams already, because when it gets to year 11 then I'm going to have a lot less work to do and I'll only have to revise the flashcards and not write them. So start preparing as early as you can. You don't have to revise a year in advance, but you can start preparing, and just take your time. Don't stress out too much, because the more you stress out, the worse you're going to do. And yeah, just you'll do fine, I'm sure of it. Comment down below if you have any other questions about revision and I'll try and answer them. And that is pretty much everything I have to say. So give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and maybe if you want another revision video. Comment down below any sections that I've missed, and be sure to subscribe if you're new and you want to see more of me, and I will see you next week. Bye!